today's trading recap, so let's talk about that. So I did not record it again, me live trading. I'll just record now and talk a bit about today's price action and why I did not took a trade again. So let's talk about that. So before the market open, I was very bullish on gold. I really thought that we would just sweep all these lows and then we would continue going higher. So this was my plan, was that we would sweep this low and then would continue going higher. But I also wanted to see a mitigation at this 1 hour fair value gap. So a sweep here mitigated the fair value gap, and I also marked this fair value gap because 15-minute fair value gap inside of a big important fair value gap, it's good. I like to see reactions from 15-minute fair value gap inside of another higher time frames fair value gap, and that's what we had before we had this sweep, but then we're gonna lower again. I marked this low inside of this fair value gap and I just waited for the reaction, but we had this like 30 minutes ago and the price just can't invalidate this gap, and because of that I'll just ignore and I'll not take a trade. And in the beginning of the New York session we had this move up, we swept this high, but because I was bullish for the day I was not interested on taking shorts. I could have entered here. We had a break of structure, bearish sweep, then we had mitigation of this bearish fair value gap, and we had a touch at 0.5 equilibrium level. Here we had mitigation a little bit above, but this candle is not right. It's glitched, and we had a perfect mitigation at 0.5, and then we continued going lower, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a reaction here. We had a sweep and a reaction, but then here we inverted the gap. Here I was very bullish, but because we were already a lot above the zone that I wanted to enter, I just ignored it, and here I marked the 0.5 level, and I also had marked this inverse fair value gap and this inverse fair value gap, and I was waiting to see if I would enter at inverse fair value gap, but after marking the 0.5 and knowing that we had a candle closure below, I just ignored it and I waited for another sweep, and here we had this sweep with this big wick, but then we just touched this bearish fair value gap and just gone lower again. Then we swept this low, that was the 15-minute fair value gap, gone higher again, but it's at the moment trying to inverse this gap. If it inverts the gap, I might enter, but I don't know. Powell speaks in an hour and a half, so I don't know if I'll take a trade. I really don't know, but if we have the inversion of this fair value gap with the candle closure below the high, and if we have a candle closure above the fair value gap, I might take a long, but I don't know. And it is what it is. I'll probably not take a trade, but here you have my trading recap. The price action today, it's not the best for longs. I was very bullish. This was my clear draws on liquidity. I wanted the sweeps. We had the sweeps, but we did not have the reactions that I wanted, so I did not took a trade. Here, I don't know. Here we do not have bullish fair value gaps to enter. Here we just have the inverse fair value gaps, and if we invert, I can enter at the retest, but I don't know. The market have already opened. Is already open for an hour and a half, and we have news in 2 hours, so I don't know if it's the best to take a trade now, but it is what it is. Here you have the trading recap, so if you like the video, like and subscribe, and tomorrow I'll be back for another trading recap, so see you tomorrow.